So today we're jumping into a story that unfolds in three absolutely pivotal acts. We're going to see how a quiet little mission out in the villages ends up creating waves so big they terrify a king. Then we'll see how a completely impossible meal for thousands of people leads to this really intense private confrontation. And it all builds to one single question: who am I? That will completely redefine the very idea of what a Messiah is supposed to be.
You know, it's a story you've probably heard before, right? A new movement starts to gain steam, and pretty soon, the people in power start getting nervous. But here's where this story takes a sharp turn. The king in this story isn't just worried about his power. He's genuinely terrified. Because the guy leading this movement, well, he doesn't just seem to be challenging the king's authority. He seems to be breaking the laws of life and death itself. All right, let's dive right in. The whole thing kicks off when Jesus gets his 12 closest followers together. And this isn't just some pep talk. He gives them actual power and authority, the ability to heal people and to deal with spiritual darkness. And then he sends them out on a mission. Now get a load of these instructions. They are just radically simple. He basically tells them, travel light. And by light, I mean take nothing. No walking stick, no bag, no food, no cash. Nothing. They have to depend completely on the kindness of strangers. And if a town doesn't welcome them, they don't argue or fight. They just leave. See, this wasn't a military campaign. It was a mission built on total trust, where their influence came from their message, not from their supplies.
And what was this big mission? Well, it was really two things. First, tell everyone that a new kind of kingdom was here, the kingdom of God, where things are run according to God's values. And second, prove it's real by actually healing people who are sick. So that's what they did. They went out from village to village and did exactly that.
Well, this seemingly small mission creates a huge buzz. Word starts spreading like wildfire, and the stories are so powerful that they reach the ears of the local ruler, Herod the Tetrarch. And Herod is just completely stumped. The rumors he's hearing are wild, almost supernatural. Some people are saying that Jesus is actually John the Baptist, risen from the dead. Others are convinced he's the great prophet Elijah, making a comeback. And some just figure he's one of the old prophets, back to life. And this is where it gets really personal for Herod. He's sitting there thinking, wait a minute, John the Baptist? I beheaded John. I know for a fact he's dead. So this whole mystery about who Jesus is becomes a really scary personal obsession for him. He just has to know who this person is. And you know what? The mystery only gets deeper. The apostles return from their mission, and Jesus tries to pull them away for a bit of a break. But the crowds are relentless. They find him. And instead of turning them away, Jesus welcomes them, teaches them, heals them. But as the day wears on, they run into a major problem. The disciples are looking at a logistical nightmare. They're out in the middle of nowhere, it's getting late, and there's this massive crowd, 5,000 men. And that's not even counting the women and children. They're all hungry. The disciples' solution is practical. Hey, let's send everyone home so they can get dinner. But Jesus has a different idea. He asks them what food they have, and the answer is almost a joke. Just 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish for thousands of people. So Jesus tells his disciples to get the massive crowd organized, have them sit down. He takes that tiny little meal, gives thanks for it, and just starts breaking it apart. The disciples start handing out the food, and it just keeps coming. It never runs out. Every single person in that massive crowd eats until they are completely full. And get this, it wasn't just enough food. It was an explosion of abundance. After everyone's had their fill, the disciples go around and collect the leftovers. And they fill 12 whole baskets. I mean, think about that for a second. They ended up with way more food than they started with. It's just staggering. Right after this huge public miracle, the story suddenly shifts. The focus zooms way in. Jesus finds a quiet moment to pray with just his disciples around him. And in this private moment, he finally brings up the very question that's been driving Herod crazy. He starts off by taking a poll, you could say. He asks, so, what's the word on the street? Who are people saying that I am? And sure enough, the disciples' answer is exactly what we heard before. It's the same rumors that reached Herod's palace. You know, some say you're John the Baptist, others say Elijah, or one of the old prophets come back to life. And then, this is the moment everything pivots. Jesus just cuts through all the public opinion and the rumors, and he makes it intensely personal. He looks right at his closest friends, the ones who've seen everything firsthand, and he asks, okay, but forget them for a second. What about you? Who do you say I am? This isn't about gossip anymore. This is about conviction. And here it is, the moment we've been building towards. The big question that had a king totally confused is about to get a direct answer. But the second that answer is given, the story takes a hard left turn that nobody saw coming. It's Peter who speaks up for the group, and he just nails it. He doesn't say a great teacher or a powerful prophet. He says, "You are God's Messiah." For their people, that was everything. The Messiah was the promised rescuer, the anointed king who would save them. This was the ultimate declaration of hope and power. This is the climax. But just as that incredible revelation is hanging in the air, Jesus does the absolute last thing you'd expect. He strictly warns them, do not tell this to anyone. You'd think there'd be a celebration, right? A big announcement? Instead, he demands total secrecy. Why? Well, it turns out their idea of what Messiah meant and his reality were worlds apart. He immediately follows that order for silence by completely redefining the job description of the Messiah. He tells them it's not about grabbing political power or winning a war. Instead, he lays out this absolutely shocking path for himself. He will suffer, he will be rejected by the most powerful religious leaders, he will be killed, and then, on the third day, he'll be raised back to life. This was not the Messiah anyone was expecting, not even close. So this shocking new definition of Messiah then leads to an equally shocking new definition of what it means to actually follow him. Because if his path is one of suffering and sacrifice, well, guess what? So is theirs. He turns to everyone there and just lays out the terms of discipleship. It's three things. First, you have to deny yourself, your own agenda, your own self-interest. Second, you have to take up your cross, a daily symbol of sacrifice and death to self. And third, you have to follow him down this incredibly difficult road. And then he hits them with this core teaching, which is a complete paradox. It's totally upside down from how the world normally works. He basically says that if you spend all your energy trying to save your own life, protecting your own interests, you're actually going to lose it. But if you're willing to lose your life for his sake, to let go of that control, that's how you'll truly save it. And all of this leaves us with one final piercing question. After he's revealed who he is and the tough road that comes with following him, he asks what might just be the most important question of all. What's the real bottom line? What good is it to gain everything this world has to offer, all the power, all the wealth, all the fame, if in the process you lose or forfeit the one thing that truly matters, your very self?